You weren't meant to see this yet, but the fact that you are means one thing. You've already stepped into the field. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. There's an energetic current moving beneath reality, a pulse that's subtle enough to go unnoticed, but strong enough to break open everything false. And it's already begun. That heaviness you've been feeling, it's not random. The dreams that feel more vivid, not just sleep. The sudden urges to end something, walk away, start again, these aren't mood swings. They're messages. You are being attuned, not punished, not tested, activated. But here's what most don't realize. The moment this shift enters your field, it starts taking things with it: illusions, attachments, roles you've played to keep other people comfortable. They begin to fall apart. And if you don't know what's happening, you'll fight it. You'll call it chaos. You'll mistake liberation for loss. So hear this clearly. You're not falling apart. You're falling open. This is the energy of return. Return to center. Return to truth. Return to the version of you that no longer needs permission to exist. And if you're hearing this right now, you're already inside the shift. Now the question is, will you surrender to what wants to rise through you? There's a frequency that's entered your field, one that doesn't care how prepared you feel. It doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't check your calendar. It simply arrives. And when it does, everything starts to shift. This energy isn't gentle. It's exact. It doesn't show up in fireworks. It moves through the subtle layers of your being, silently until you feel it everywhere. You wake up tired, disconnected, not because you're broken, but because your old energetic shell is being dismantled. So what is this energy, really? It's not just a cosmic wave. It's a purification force, here to remove anything in your life that no longer resonates with your future self. Think of it like a vibrational audit. What relationships no longer support your truth? What habits are stealing your life force? What identities are keeping you small? This energy doesn't need you to answer out loud. It already knows, and it's applying pressure exactly where resistance still lives. Signs you're inside the shift: sudden emotional releases for no logical reason, memories resurfacing from years ago, fatigue that feels spiritual, not physical, feeling done with patterns you've tolerated for years, heightened dreams, synchronicities, or inner visions. These are not breakdowns. They are spiritual data points, indicators that your system is detoxing, timelines that were never meant to last. This isn't just about raising your vibration. That phrase is too soft for what this is. This is energetic collision. The vibration you say you want is clashing with the life you're still maintaining. So if you're feeling like you're in between realities, you are. The old one is no longer stable. The new one isn't fully formed. You're standing in the void, the sacred space where everything falls apart. So the real can finally rise, and it will, but only if you stop resisting what's leaving. Because what's trying to find you now can only arrive in the space you're brave enough to clear. The energy now moving through your life isn't just intense, it's intelligent. It knows where to go, it knows what to dissolve, and it knows who you're capable of becoming, even when you don't. But here's the truth most avoid. You cannot rise while clinging to what was built in your survival phase. You cannot ascend while protecting the parts of you that were created just to be accepted. This energy is not a test, it's an invitation. And it speaks in 5 phases, each one a threshold you must walk through to become who you came here to be. 1, the disruption. Everything starts to feel off. Things that once brought comfort now feel flat. People who once felt close begin to fade. Your own voice begins to sound unfamiliar. This isn't a glitch. This is the disruption of your old frequency field. The universe doesn't destroy what's aligned. It dissolves what's no longer compatible with your expansion. So the chaos you're feeling, that's alignment trying to break through your attachments. Don't panic. Breathe. You're not breaking down. You're being rerouted. 3, frequency check-in, midday micro retreat. Set a daily reminder on your phone. Call it energy reset. When it rings, pause for 1 minute and ask, is this version of me aligned with the one I claimed this morning? If not, don't shame. Just shift. Take 3 deep breaths. Close your eyes. Feel your body. Feel your field. Say, I return to center. Then continue. Aligned. 1 minute. That's all it takes to pull yourself out of autopilot and back into your truth. Number 4, energetic boundaries audit. This energy will test every boundary you've left leaky. So you must be ruthless in your spiritual hygiene. Each night, reflect. What took too much from me today? Where did I overextend to stay comfortable? What can I release to protect my field tomorrow? Then visualize a golden sphere around you. Say aloud, only truth and resonance may enter. All else returns to source. Not because you're rejecting the world, but because you're no longer abandoning yourself to stay in it. 5. Soul-directed action. One bold move per day. Awareness without action is spiritual procrastination. So choose one thing daily that reflects your evolution, not for applause, not to prove, but to declare energetically, I no longer live in hesitation. That might be unfollowing someone whose energy drains you, turning down an obligation you used to accept out of guilt, starting the creative project you feared would fail, saying no when silence used to be your survival. Small aligned action equals massive frequency anchoring. You don't need to move fast. You just need to move honestly. 6. Nightly portal. Clear before you sleep. Each night before sleep, whisper this. I now release anything that is not mine. I return to my center. I call all parts of me home. Then breathe, deeply, intentionally. Visualize every part of your day dissolving like smoke. You are not meant to carry every moment into your dream state. Sleep is not escape, it's sacred repair. Let your soul rest in clean energy. These 6 practices are not rules, they are reminders that the version of you you're becoming needs structure to survive the frequency upgrade. Do them with reverence, not rigidity. This is not perfection. This is alignment. And alignment, practiced daily, becomes embodiment. You don't have to chase the energy anymore. You are becoming the anchor for it. Right now. You've done the work. You've shifted your field. You've made space. Now comes the part most people fear, the pause, the stillness, the sacred silence before the sprout breaks the surface. This is the part of transformation no one talks about because it's quiet, because it feels empty, because your ego can't measure it. But this is where timelines lock in. Most people relapse here. They mistake stillness for failure. They interpret silence as abandonment, and they start clawing their way back to the life they were just freed from. Why? Because they never learned to trust the invisible. But if you want to stabilize your new frequency, you must learn to trust what hasn't yet appeared. The results aren't missing. They're aligning. The energy is working, but it's working in the unseen. Remember, you are not waiting. You are becoming. This energy doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to resonance. So don't fall back into asking, when will it happen? Why hasn't it shown up yet? What if I'm doing it wrong? Instead, ask, what frequency must I hold today to stay in alignment with what's already on its way? That question is magnetic because it pulls you out of scarcity and into sovereignty. 2. The confrontation. Once the disruption lands, everything you've buried starts to surface. Old wounds, old dreams, old fears, all asking, are you finally ready to deal with this? This stage feels heavy because you're not just processing emotion, you're burning karma. Not cosmic punishment, just old energy that's no longer relevant to who you are becoming. The mistake most people make here is trying to think their way through it. Don't. Feel it. Write it. Move it. Let it be seen, because what you refuse to feel will stay. But what you honor with presence, it leaves. 3. The disidentification. Here is where everything begins to shift. You realize that the you you've been protecting isn't you at all. It's a costume made of coping mechanisms, a mask made to survive, a voice trained to please. This is where your ego starts to scream. It will say things like, you're nothing without that job. You'll be alone if you let that go. No one will understand the real you. Let it scream. Don't answer. You are not your job. You are not your trauma. You are not someone's version of enough. You are the awareness beneath all of it. And now, that awareness is rising. 4. The rewriting. This is where you begin to reclaim your authorship. Your story no longer writes you. You write it. You redefine what success feels like. You re-choose who gets access to your time and energy. You realize you're allowed to walk away from anything that no longer respects your becoming. In this phase, your values return. Not the ones society gave you, but the ones your soul carried into this lifetime. And as they return, you begin to rebuild. Not fast, not for show, but with intention, with clarity, with sacred pause. 5. The integration. This is the most misunderstood phase. It doesn't feel euphoric. It doesn't always look dramatic. It feels quiet, like landing in your body for the first time. Like looking at yourself in the mirror and thinking, there you are. You stop performing. You stop chasing. You stop apologizing for your power. Instead, you start living your frequency, not as something you talk about, but something that moves through every word, boundary, decision, and breath. This is integration. This is embodiment. And this is where your outer world finally begins to reflect your inner truth. These are the 5 phases. They don't always happen in order. You might loop, you might resist, you might rage. Good. That means it's real. The point is not to move through them perfectly. The point is to move through them honestly. You were never meant to stay the same. You were built to remember, to release, to rise. And now that you know what's happening within you, it's time to bring it into your everyday life. Understanding energy is one thing. Living in alignment with it is another. This is where most fall off the path. They feel the insight, the calling, the moment of clarity, but then return to their habits, their loops, their comforts. Because integration isn't glamorous, it's daily, it's disciplined, and it demands that your inner world becomes visible in your outer life. Let's talk about how you do that now, through practice, presence, and repetition. 1. Morning consciousness anchor. You wake up every day inside a new frequency, but your first 15 minutes decide whether you stay there. So from now on, before touching your phone, sit upright. Place one hand on your heart, one on your navel. Speak aloud. I choose presence. I choose truth. I choose to lead from alignment. Then ask silently, what part of me needs to feel safe to rise today? This simple ritual reattunes your nervous system. It reminds your subconscious, you are the creator now, not the reactor. 2. Truth calibration journal, 5 minutes daily. Energy moves when truth is spoken. So each day, ask and answer, what am I pretending not to know? What's one thing I need to stop entertaining? What does my highest self need to say no to today? You're not journaling to fix, you're journaling to witness. Because what is witnessed with honesty begins to unwind itself. The sacred formula of trust. Here's how you hold the line when nothing makes sense. 1. Anchor your daily non-negotiables. The world can spin, but you still breathe, move, reflect, align. 2. Speak from the version of you who's already there. Don't say I hope, say I know. 3. Normalize slow. Quantum shifts don't need to rush. You don't need proof today to be valid. 4. Expect emotional resistance. Doubt, fear, and fatigue are the body's way of detoxing speed addiction. Let them move through you without labeling them as signs you're off track. Timeline mastery means this. You stop trying to control the outcome and start mastering the frequency that attracts the outcome. This is energetic adulthood. It's no longer, how do I get what I want? It becomes, how can I become the kind of vessel that what I want belongs to? You're not waiting. You're matching. You're not hoping. You're holding. You're not chasing. You're choosing. So today, slow down. Say less. Receive more. The quantum doesn't need your panic. It needs your presence. Because what's coming? It's already on its way. It's already yours, and it will arrive. The moment you stop needing it to prove your worth. Take a breath. Not just because we're closing this message, but because you need to feel how far you've already come. You didn't just listen. You remembered. You didn't just hear a message. You received a transmission. And now, you're no longer the person who pressed play. That version of you, the one that still questioned, still negotiated with their becoming, has already started to fade because your frequency has shifted and your life is already responding. But don't forget this. You don't need to earn your awakening. You don't need to prove your worthiness to the universe. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. What's required is simple. Stay awake. Stay awake when your past calls you back. Stay awake when your old habits beg for attention. Stay awake when the world tells you that you're too much, too different, too deep, because you didn't come here to blend in. You came here to signal, to hold a vibration that others have forgotten, to be a mirror for those still sleepwalking through their lives, to be a lighthouse in a time of mass energetic confusion. Speak, reflect, activate, drop a comment. Let this transmission land through your fingertips. What are you feeling? What are you seeing more clearly now? What part of you finally feels seen? Your voice matters, not for algorithms, but for alignment. When you speak truth into a field that's ready to hold it, you anchor your evolution and you call others forward. You're not alone anymore. There's a reason you found this channel. There's a reason this message felt like it was written through you instead of just for you. because this is a collective awakening. One soul at a time, remembering, returning, rising. And as you rise, so does the field. So subscribe, not just for content, but for community, for reflection, for reminders, because this isn't the end. This is your beginning. And remember, you don't need to rush to the next level. You just need to stop stepping backward. Everything you need is already inside you. It always was. And now you're ready to walk with it. Not in fear, but in full, clear, sacred presence. You are the shift. You are the signal. You are the sign someone else is praying for. And your moment is no longer coming. It's here. Let's rise together.